Diablo 2 Resurrected. Many people were hoping that when this game launches, the story will be the complete opposite of what it was for Warcraft 3 Reforged, which is still one of the most disastrous AAA releases of all time. And while the core game itself is intact and Vicarious Vision did a pretty good job at remastering the graphics of the game, and the core of what made this game good for people back then is still there, unfortunately, server issues continue to get in the way of this being a smooth launch, and that's what's led to the current user score of 3.6. And for the Metascore itself, it's not one of the highest we have seen from Blizzard. There are criticisms surrounding the fact that this game, there are aspects to it that haven't aged well, but overall it is a faithful remaster that people are just having trouble getting into for multiplayer, or characters are being deleted, and it's just creating frustrations that's led to an overall less than ideal launch. And so we saw stuff like this fail to enter game. This character is already in the game on the server. For some reason, the game thought that when people logged out of the game, the character that they used was still considered to be in-game, which didn't allow people to log back in. And there's only one thread regarding this issue. There is another main thread where there's plenty of feedback surrounding this and posts even as of 2 hours ago. Even worse are the people who saw that their characters are entirely missing, so it's not even that they can click on the character and then they're told the character's already in-game. It's like the character was gone entirely, and that was another issue that Blizzard had to contend with. There were issues regarding AVX and the game crashing on older processors, though this has allegedly been fixed, but it was an issue that plagued the game's launch. And unfortunately, these technical issues and server issues continued for not just the game's launch day or a day or two after, but plenty of days. Even on September 28th, 5 days after the game's launch, the character lockout bug still persisted. And then fast forward 19 to 20 days later after launch, October 12th and today 13th, and you've got a situation where Diablo 2 Resurrected servers are down yet again, with Blizzard not knowing what the issue is, having to investigate. Here's another headline: Diablo 2 Resurrected is still being the keyword, struggling with server issues. This is an article published on October 11th. And then here we have Eurogamer reporting on this: Diablo 2 Resurrected plagued by server issues, with an update yesterday on the 12th, noting how Blizzard has responded to Eurogamer with this statement: "We're aware of and are investigating issues some players have been experiencing in Diablo 2 Resurrected. We have conducted emergency maintenance across all platforms, are closely monitoring server performance, and are making further adjustments and fixes as needed." And then they thank the players, are sure they're working on long-term and short-term solutions, etc., etc. But players are getting impatient. This should not be happening 20 days after launch, and these shouldn't be happening so frequently. That's just the sign of a game that clearly just needed more time in the oven, just needed more refinement. And while it's understandable if, say, the first day or two are riddled with server issues because of the load of people who are flooding into the game at once, it tends to happen with a lot of online game launches. When this stuff keeps happening on day 20, that's where we're getting to a point where this is just not acceptable, and the frustrations on the part of the community are definitely understandable. They just want to play the game online, and it's just such a struggle still. And I mean, just look at the Twitter timeline of Blizzard customer support, the Americas, or hell, even look at Europe's, and you'll see something very similar. From launch, we're investigating issues causing delays in game creation. We're looking into issues that prevent some players from seeing existing characters or creating new characters. This is all on launch day, by the way. And then later that day, they were continuing to work on problems affecting characters and game creation. As you scroll up, just maintenance after maintenance. Server issues have been resolved, except they would crop up again just days later. More maintenance, more maintenance. This is September 26th now, and as we keep scrolling up, more maintenance is scheduled, and then a couple of patch releases noting some of the details, but you'll see that, on October 9th, we're currently investigating reports of login issues with Diablo 2 Resurrected. Apologies for any inconvenience caused. And then the next day on October 10th, once again investigating an issue, this time affecting our authentication servers, which may result in failed or slow login attempts. Once more, they're apologizing for the inconvenience. They say login issues have been resolved, but then we keep scrolling forward and we continue to be working on resolving the login issues that have once again been reported, the ongoing connection issues. We're investigating them. Thank you for your patience. And this is just the same pattern over and over again. You know, we're aware of the current issues impacting Diablo 2 Resurrected, and we're investigating. This is October 12th now, etc., etc., etc. I mean, you can read for yourself. And then now, October 12th, today's login issues have been resolved. But then today, just a couple hours ago, we're aware of the PS5 service for Diablo 2 Resurrected is experiencing issues. And the last update we got was that as part of their continued investigation, they'll be actively monitoring and reacting to the situation during peak play times and trying to discover why this keeps happening over and over again. How long it'll take for this to be ultimately resolved, obviously, it's hard to say. There's only so many times you can say the issue has been resolved and then it's not actually resolved, with the same issue cropping up the next day or the day after, and this happening for days on end before people kind of throw up their arms and go, okay, so I don't know, I guess I'll have to wait a couple months, who knows. And, you know, there's certainly going to be regrets about buying the game. And you can already see the ratio here, 1.2 thousand replies versus a mere 248 likes. And clicking here, you can scroll down and read what people are saying. How is it possible? Genuinely curious. You're a massive company with vast resources at your disposal, and yet you cannot maintain a video game this old, that is old enough to drink alcohol. Seriously, how is this possible? I'm clearly missing something and would love to know. Now, regardless of the resources that you have, video games are still going to be complicated to make, but it doesn't change the fact that for customers who buy these games on day one, they want those games to work on day one, and they certainly want it to work by day 20. And with Blizzard's recent track record, they really needed a win with this one. But this is one of those games that seems like it was rushed to launch, or it wasn't tested enough for them to spot the issues that would create scenarios like this even 20 days after launch. Regardless of what the reasoning is, it doesn't change the fact that for people who paid money for this game, this is an unacceptable situation. You've got people as of 6 hours ago noting that I've had the game since it came out and still can't get past the title screen to make my first character. So for a good amount of people, Diablo 2 Resurrected has been, for the most part, paperweight or just some data taking up digital space. And I guess these players could play offline and play single player, but online is a major component of Diablo 2. That's what a lot of people mainly play on, and for it to be in this state certainly cripples the game's optics and reception. Some people wondering, you keep saying you're actively monitoring and reacting to the situation. What have you been doing these past 4 days? Somebody here saying just a reset. They don't want to admit it's been almost a week of crashes and they still have no idea how to fix it. Or they have been monitoring the situation. They're just confounded by why this keeps happening, or just aren't able to resolve the issue or know what the issue is, but it's large scale enough that they just aren't able to fully fix it until however long this will take. I mean, who knows at this point? And then here we have some people who are asking for Blizzard to allow for unconditional refunds at this stage, with them having to be lighter on their policy so that people are able to give their money back and return the product that's just not working for them. And then looking at the official Diablo subreddit and scrolling down, you can see that if you search top posts this week, they all have to do with players' inability to connect to servers. There's straight up a top comment or top post right here that reads, "Very good game," and they jokingly wiped out the Resurrected subtitle in favor of Diablo 2 Disconnected, which kind of hits the nail on the head and is reflective of what a lot of people's experience has been. Down here we got people making jokes about this situation. Weird how every time my wife leaves and takes my son and I have time to game, suddenly the Diablo 2 Resurrected servers go down. Anytime I boot this game up when my wife is away, the servers go down. It must be my wife. I'm so sorry, guys. It's all my fault. You know, just some nonsense leading into this whole situation, basically turning into a meme. Then we got a post highlighting the missing characters when server issues kick in that has been commonplace. Some people taking umbrage with Blizzard's lack of communication, stating that the silence from Blizzard is worse than the servers. And while they have been telling people to follow us on Twitter to keep up with yada yada yada, the tweets aren't particularly informative. They just tell you when maintenance is happening, that they're working hard to resolve login issues, but, you know, aren't all that communicative directly with the community and, you know, they're not really specifying exactly what the issues are and trying to put the community at ease. It's kind of the most basic form of communication. Just a day ago, people posting, "Here we go again, the servers are down yet again." Others noting how they feel bad for Vicarious Visions, who they think did a good job actually remastering the game, with the core game's modernization being pretty good overall, but the server side of things just causing all of these issues, which are Blizzard servers essentially, is what a lot of people are putting their finger at. And just people fed up. You know, people from European servers also are wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke? Servers down again, lots of upvotes, and that's kind of what you're gonna see for the better part of this week, especially if this issue isn't resolved soon, and permanently so. When I first covered these issues 2 weeks ago, the user score was at a 4.8. Looking at it now, you can see a significant markdown after 1,443 ratings have led to this game getting a review score of what's currently 3.6 out of 10, which is, you know, not Reforged bad. That's one of the worst rated games ever at a point like 2 or 0.3 or somewhere there. But this is still not ideal. This is the last thing they needed amidst the PR shitstorm that Blizzard is currently embroiled in, with a DFEH lawsuit that has surfaced the culture of harassment and discrimination that's been permeating Blizzard for many years, with World of Warcraft kind of going on a downturn, with Final Fantasy XIV actually having surpassed World of Warcraft's current numbers, with that game releasing consistent and compelling updates, while World of Warcraft is falling behind on that front, with many upset at the current state of that game, and not to mention previous releases like Warcraft 3 Reforged, and autonomy of Blizzard continuing to be lost as Activision's corporate influence seeps in further. It all paints such a bleak picture of what Blizzard currently is and what the future holds. You know, people would love to see a resurgence and for Blizzard to return to what they once used to be, but that seems like an era that's long past. It just kind of kills hope that Blizzard will, down the line, one of these days reach those golden days where they once were, especially with the people that made Blizzard what it was, you know, kind of gone from the company, with so many veterans have left, and what remains, it's akin to BioWare, where sure, it's still BioWare and, you know, there's a team there, but is it really BioWare when most veterans have left and when corporate influence has kind of morphed the identity of the studio into something that is less than ideal? I don't know, that's just the vibe that I'm getting, and no doubt many people are feeling something similar. But that's just one man's take on everything, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on the current state of Blizzard and Diablo 2 Resurrected, what your experience has been like if you do own the game, trying to log to servers, and the issues you may or may not have faced. Share your thoughts below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.